Hello there, my name is Marley. Welcome back to my channel, Marley Reads a Lot. So as you can see from the title, today I'm going to be taking you through my March TBR. I know, who am I? Suddenly I am doing TBRs for every month, which I never did last year, but I'm just finding that I'm being way more organized this year with my reading, and I'm like really planning it out very specifically. So I guess I'm just doing monthly TBRs now. Also, I'm going to be trying to participate in a month-long readathon, so I thought I would talk about that in this video as well. It is called Tis the Damn Readathon, and it's hosted by Emma from Drinking by My Shelf, and I believe a few other YouTubers, but she's the only one that I'm subscribed to that's hosting the readathon, and it's a Taylor Swift themed readathon. So I'll put some sort of info about the readathon in the description, but basically you are trying to complete a challenge for every one of Taylor Swift's albums, and there's a couple different prompts for each album, so you can like choose out of 3 which one you want to do, and it's like a bingo board style, so you can try and get a row or whatever, but as usual I'm going to try to blacken the board. So I'll tell you the books that I plan on reading for that readathon. So for the first album, which is Taylor Swift, there are a couple prompts, but the one that I think I'm gonna do is the one that doesn't include reading a book and where you just have to post your book on Instagram or on social media. So I'll be doing that. Then for the Fearless album, the prompt that I'm going to do is for the song 15, and that is to read a YA book. So for this, I'm going to be reading Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. So I'm super excited for this book. It's my most anticipated book of the year, as Cassandra Clare is my favorite author, and I just loved Chain of Gold that came out last year. I thought it was such a good first installment to this new Shadowhunter series. I loved all of the different characters and all of the different like love triangles, love squares, and all of that was going on. If you guys don't know, the Shadowhunters books, they're basically based on this race of people called Shadowhunters who are like half human, half angel, and they kill demons. And the different Shadowhunter books follow a different set of characters in this world throughout different times. So in the Last Hours series, which Chain of Iron is the second book in, we are in, I think, the Victorian era, Edwardian era, one of those. We are following the kids from one of the previous books, so that's really fun, seeing characters that we already know as the parents, and they're just dealing with like new adventures with demons, with ghosts, with magic, all that. So I'm very excited to read this one. For the album Speak Now, the prompt I'm going to do is for the song If We Were a Movie, and the prompt is to read a book that's been adapted into a TV show or movie. So for this one, I'm cheating slightly, and I'm going to be reading Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, which, as you can see, is getting turned into a Netflix adaptation. It just hasn't come out yet. It's coming out in April, but I think this can count because technically it's already been filmed and everything. It is being adapted. You guys probably know this is the second book in the Six of Crows duology. It takes place in the Grishaverse. I've mentioned about a million times that I am reading this whole series leading up to the show coming out. Actually, right now when I'm filming this, I'm reading Six of Crows, and I'm actually quite enjoying it. You'll have to hear my thoughts about that in my wrap-up, which will be coming, but I assume I'm going to end up loving that book. So very excited to get into the second one. Basically what this duology is about is these 6 people who are going on this heist, this like magical heist to kidnap this person to like get money. I don't know what this is going to be about. I guess it's the fallout of that. Yeah, can't wait to get to it. For the album Red, the prompt that I'm choosing is to read a book with red on the cover. So the one that I chose is One by One by Ruth Ware. It's not a lot of red, but technically there is still red on the cover with Ruth Ware's author name. So this is another really hyped up book on BookTube. It's a thriller. As you can imagine, people start getting killed off one by one, but I think it's about this group of co-workers who go to this like ski resort or somewhere kind of out in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of snowy hills, a snowy setting, and then I think they get locked in this place together, and then people start getting killed one by one. So it's a thriller to find out who is killing them, and apparently it's pretty predictable with who the killer is, but apparently it is still really good and really exciting to read. I'm excited to get to this one, even though initially I heard really bad reviews of it. Now I've seen a lot of positive reviews as well. well. So I'm excited to get back into reading thriller books this month. If you guys didn't see my TBR for last month, I read only fantasy. So I'm very excited to start reading more thriller books again this month because I just love them and I miss them. Then we have 1989 album, which is my favorite Taylor Swift album, and the prompt for this one that I chose is read a book with a number in the title. And as you guys just saw, One by One clearly has a number in the title, so that counts. So for Reputation, the prompt that I chose is to read a book that has romance in it, although that is not the main genre. So for this one, I'm going to use Chain of Iron again. Obviously this one is a fantasy, a YA fantasy, but there's also a lot of romance in it, a lot of different relationships to root for, so that definitely fits. For the next album, it is of course Lover, and the prompt I chose is to read a 5-star prediction. So I could have gone with Chain of Iron again for this one, but I'll just mix it up a little and I'll say The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. Yes, we have another Ruth Ware book on this list, but this is, I think these are the only 2 Ruth Ware books I've ever really heard of. This one I think is based off of the classic book The Turn of the Screw, so I am familiar with that story as I've seen a couple other adaptations of it, but it follows a woman who gets a job as I think some sort of nanny for these kids at this house, and then weird stuff start happening. I think she ends up getting arrested and she thinks that she's innocent, but it's sort of a question of like, is she innocent or not? I don't really know how to explain this one, but I think I'm gonna be buddy reading this with Serena over at A Wandering Mind. So not sure when I'm gonna read this in the month, but I think it'll be fun to do my first buddy read and do it on a thriller book because I feel like there's a lot of like theories that you can talk about in this. So I don't know when I'm reading it with Serena. Girl, if you're watching this, let me know in the comments what week you want to do, or I'll just message you. But yeah, excited to read another thriller. Now onto the album Folklore. The prompt I'm going to do for this is to read a book based on mythology or a retelling. So this is a little bit of a stretch, but I'm going to just say Chain of Iron counts for this prompt as it is said that it is loosely based off The Great Expectations. A lot of the themes are similar. With I just read, James is sort of like Pip, and I think Grace is sort of like Estella, and I think there's like some other character associations between the two. So that's what I'm saying for that. Then for the last album, which is of course Evermore, the song I'm doing is No Body, No Crime, and the prompt for that is to read a thriller or mystery book, which of course I've already listed a few, but I am going to be reading another thriller book this month. It's a bit more of a thriller month for me, and that's going to be The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. And oh wow, this is like a lot heavier than I thought it was. But I read Karen Slaughter's book Pretty Girls a few months ago and I loved it, so this is one that I had found at a like bargain bookstore, so I thought I would grab it even though I have not heard a ton about this one. Honestly, reading the back, it sounds very similar to Pretty Girls, where it's about these sisters who had a really terrible thing happen to them when they were younger. It sounds like their mom and their dad were both murdered or something like that, and now it's like years later and the mystery is sort of being brought up again through like a newer case, and they're finally gonna have to like face what happened to their family years ago and solve that crime. I don't know, we'll see. I think I'm gonna vlog when I read this, so definitely make sure to check out that video to hear more about that. Now I have 2 more other books that I want to read this month, and one of them is Final Girls by Riley Sager. So I've read 2 of Riley Sager's other books, so I really wanted to get to his other 2 since I really enjoyed them. So I think Final Girls was his first book he ever wrote, and I believe it's about a whole bunch of girls who were like final girls, like they all were in some sort of terrible situation where a bunch of girls were killed and they were last ones standing, and now it seems like this group of final girls is starting to get killed off. So that's the premise that I know of. Again, I think I'll be vlogging this one, so stay tuned for my thoughts, but I really hope it can live up to the hype of Riley's other books, even though it was his first one, so it might be like his worst one. I still just really enjoy Riley's writing style, and so I'm really pumped for that one. And then the last book that I want to get to is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo, just continuing on with the Grishaverse read along that I'm participating in. So once Crooked Kingdom is done and the Six of Crows duology is done, there is a new duology. This is the first book in it. So I don't really want to read too much about the synopsis of this one because I don't want to be spoiled for whatever ends up happening in this book and in this series. All I know is that I do know who the King of Scars is referencing just based on the books I've already read in the Grishaverse, and so I'm very excited because that character is actually my favorite character in the series. So I'm very much looking forward to continuing with his adventures, seeing where that character is at, seeing just more of the characters that I know from the previous books. But in terms of the plot, I honestly don't really know what's going to happen. So hopefully you guys liked hearing about what I'm going to be reading this month. Let me know what you guys are reading and who's excited for Chain of Iron. Me. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. Please subscribe so you can see what I think of these books at the end of the month. And I upload videos every Tuesday and sometimes Thursday. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video coming soon. Bye.